Welcome to Setting Up Your Own Men's Lodge. This is Anthony Condon in front of us, who's putting the chairs out because out of the things we've got listed that you'll need, chairs are one of them. We've also got cushions for the chairs, which we'll show you in a bit later. So here we've got one of the most important parts, the fire. Figuring out a decent fire source is really the heart of what makes this thing tick along. You can use like an old fire basket, you can use an old washing machine drum. Got this second hand off Gumtree for 80 bucks, so they're about $150 to $200 at Bunnings. Really beautiful devices. You get 10 bucks for a bag of wood at the petrol station and grab some small kindling to light it with. So we make the fire quite a ritual. So at 7 o'clock you can get one of these little bells, and at 7 o'clock everybody's silent, we ring the bell, and you wait, you light the fire. If you want to bring a bit of sacredness to the evening, you need to create it and lead it. Similarly, with these little chimes, they're used at the start for the opening meditation or the grounding meditation. Did it myself for a while, and then I started to realize that if I say to anybody in the circle, hey, can you lead the grounding meditation, really amazing things happen. And having this to wait until they finish the meditation and then say, okay, and now the lodge is open. It creates an opening and a closing, or at least that creates the opening. For the closing, I use something called samagri, which is a Vedic spice, and I hand it around, get everybody to take a bit in their hands, and then come up with some kind of intonation about, whatever's happened tonight is simply what's going on. It doesn't mean anything unless you want it to do so. So with that knowledge, take this in your hand and cast it off into the fire. It has a beautiful little flaming effect, and all these sparks come out of it. It smells nice. It's a way to close the evening. Might seem obvious, but before you do all this, clean up. Only takes a few minutes, and if you don't have crap everywhere, it's going to be a much more conducive space for people to think and explore and share in. The other thing is cushions. You can pick them up from an op shop, really cheap. People have to sit out here for 2 to 3 hours, so make sure they're comfortable. People generally flip out if they're cold, if they're hungry, and if they're uncomfortable. So they're the 3 things you need to take care of. Feed them, give them something soft to sit on, and keep them warm. We have extra blankets and things as well, because people underestimate what sitting outside is going to do to their body temperature and generally aren't prepared. So be prepared on their behalf and you'll be able to conduct a great experience. And there we go, as you can see, nice little round circle. Keep it nice and tight, because the further away from each other people are, the less they are interested in being open and honest. Now that we've figured out the expected amount of people that are going to turn up and how we're going to fit them all in, what we're doing is taking away half the chairs. Because if you're running a seminar, people walk into a room where there's only 4 chairs and a whole heap they can pull out, they feel like, great, we're building something. If one person walks into a room with 20 chairs set up and there's nobody else there, it's quite intimidating. So now we know it works, we'll expand it as people arrive. Cheers! Food's the most important part of the evening, and collecting money for it works out really well if you have a donations tin. Stick it out, tell everybody where it is, they put the money in, they take their change out, it makes everything work. Getting the food timed correctly so that it arrives at about 7:10 on the basis we have first timers arrive at 6:45, then somebody who's been to the lodge before shares the process and the rules with them, and then 7 o'clock is the start time, everybody arrives, they're there in the chairs. Food arrives at 7:10 on the basis you've ordered it correctly or you've made it, pre-prepared it, and then the lodge proper starts at 7:30. Keeping to that kind of clockwork schedule and finishing by the agreed time, 9:30 or 10 as by agreement, really helps things. It creates a process that people can start to trust and believe in and keep turning up to. Thanks. Another thing to consider is once you've got one person coming through the door, they're going to want all your attention. So have a little sign. Men's Lodge. Door open, come on through the kitchen, out the backyard. Stick it on the front door and have a bit of trust. And there we have it. People have turned up on time, we have read the introduction to the first timers, and everybody's eating. So, feed them, put them down, give them a process, and the world will love you. Yeah. So the other thing you'll need is this handy little list, which is basically how the evening runs. And you can find this along with a whole variety of topics that we've been through for the last 38 lodges in the video description, so download it. And do this. I did this because I didn't have enough men in my life.
and a person I care about really dearly had a lot of women in her life and was going to female lodges, and I was like, well, gee, I want more men in my life. Why don't I run a men's lodge? And so I just did. I called some friends over. We sat on logs in the backyard. They were uncomfortable. We all shared and learned a lot, had a laugh. And it's evolved since then. So, have real conversations with good men in your life. And the best men are ones you've never even met. So have an open door policy and just invite everybody. And, do the hustle, hound them to turn up, invite them, confirm they're going to come, remind them as you're coming up to the day, remind them on the day, keep up the momentum so people have a reason to come and try something that's potentially a little scary. And I promise you, I guarantee you, you will find out something about the people around you that you could never have imagined without doing this. So have a crack. And if you've got any questions, I'm happy to help. Thanks.